Start game now. The X-Wing is with us today because today we're going to hit the skies. Welcome guys to another episode of the Notes for Gamer. Today we're going to take a look at F-18 Hornet for your Atari 7800 Pro system. The label really isn't much. The box was pretty cool, but sadly I don't have the box. But let's go ahead and put F-18 Hornet into our Atari 7800 Pro system and see how this one flies. Let's go to the game. F-18 Hornet was published by Absolute Entertainment and carries a copyright year of 1988. It was created by John Van Ryzen, who's best known for the Atari 2600 game Hero. F-18 Hornet is a flight simulator for one player only. The game is comprised of 4 missions, which you can choose from at the beginning of the game. Each mission consists of a single life that you lose if you are destroyed, at which point you can restart the mission again. The first mission is a training mission that takes place in the Mojave Desert. Your main goal in this mission is to take out the tank drones and land successfully at the end of the run. The tanks will not shoot at you, and as is the case with all the missions, it is not necessary to destroy all the tanks to complete it, but it will affect your ranking at the end. The second mission takes place in Germany. In this mission, attacking jets are now added to the tanks. You will also need to land and take off from an aircraft carrier halfway through the mission to refuel. The mission ends when you successfully land at the hangar at the end. The third mission takes place in Central America. This mission once again features enemy jets and a refueling landing in the middle, but this time you are also asked to drop supplies over an Allied HQ during the stage. This mission ends when you land on the aircraft carrier at the end. The fourth and the final mission takes place in Southeast Asia and once again features a refueling landing in the middle. The mission contains a new enemy, the attack helicopters, and also asks you to bomb a barricaded target. It ends once you land at the end. At the end of each mission, or after you are destroyed, you will get a ranking based on whether you completed the mission or not, how many targets you destroyed, and if you successfully dropped your payload if necessary. It will also consider if you performed difficult maneuvers, such as flying under bridges and gateways, and the condition your plane is in at the end. From lowest to highest, the possible rankings are AWOL, SWABO, Cadet, Ensign, Lieutenant, Captain, and Ace. If you are able to get the Ace rating in all 4 missions in a row, you will earn a Top Gun rating. Am I the only one who hears the song Danger Zone whenever someone says Top Gun? You view the game from your cockpit. In the middle are all your instruments. From right to left, they are your throttle lever, compass, radar, airspeed, thrust, vertical angle, horizontal angle, altimeter, attitude display, bay door switch, fuel gauge, and landing gear switch. Under your target window, there are 2 lights. The left flashes when a target is in range and the right flashes when the target is locked on. The bottom digital display displays your speed, vertical and horizontal angles, time clock, landing gear indicator, altitude, number of missiles remaining, fuel remaining, and percentage of thrust engaged. Reading the digital portion is much easier than the dials. However, if you are hit by enemy fire, the digital readings will freeze and you will be forced to use the dials instead. Getting hit twice by enemy fire or crashing ends your game. The game requires not only a joystick but also the use of the system switches as well. When holding down the left buttons, you can increase your thrusters, which affect your speed by pushing up on the joystick, and decrease your thrusters by pressing down. When flying, pressing up dives and pressing down rises. You can also move from left to right or fire missiles by pressing the right button. On the system, reset starts your game, select either rises or lowers your landing gear, and the left difficulty switch will drop your payload if you're carrying one. The right difficulty switch will eject your pilot, but also will the left one if you're not carrying a payload, but you will stay in cockpit view as your jet crashes to the ground. You start each level having to take off. To do so from land, you must rise your speed to Mach 0.32 and press down on the joystick. If you run out of runway before you take down, your jet will crash. From an aircraft carrier, you must increase your thrust to 99% before taking off. Once you take off, your landing gear automatically goes up. When landing, you must put your landing gear down, but this decreases your fuel efficiency. You also need to decrease your thrust to 31% and get your speed down to 0.5 Mach. Decreasing your thrust more than this may cause you to lose altitude and crash before you land. As you land, you must remain flat horizontally and be angled down at either -5 or -10 degrees. Once you hit the ground, you should decrease your throttle until you stop. Some landings are more difficult than others, as they may have shorter areas, such as landing on an aircraft carrier or landing in an area where you must fly under a low hanging ceiling. As you can probably tell, landing is the most difficult part of the game. At refueling landings, you will get refueled and will have to take off again. You can press down when landed to switch directions. You can use this to give yourself more room to take off or to go back to try and hit targets you may have missed, since you can only go forward when flying. Each time you land, you can refuel again and again and again. To successfully hit an enemy, tank, or aircraft, you need to have your target light on and stay center as you fire your missile. I found that firing when locked on and immediately moving out of the way can actually cause a miss. However, when firing at a flying aircraft, you will want to move out of your way after destroying them, as they often fire missiles at you as well. Dropping payloads on targets require you be over the target and not too high up. If done successfully, you will hear a noise or see a flash. Graphically speaking, this game is a very mixed bag. On one hand, it was very advanced at the time, pushing the system with its scaling graphics. For what it is, the system it's on, and the time it was released, it's amazing. On the other hand, your viewing area is pretty small, and the scaling objects often look like pixelated blobs until you get really close to them. When flying enemies fired at me, I also found it hard to see the missile coming at me as it blended in with the enemy blob. And when you fire missiles, they have this weird arcing animation that looks like you're a kid throwing plastic missiles from your G.I. Joe plane. Take that, Cobra Commander! Also, I really didn't care much for the ketchup and mustard color scheme used in the first level. Music and sound-wise, you have a percussive theme at the opening, and then just general sound effects to accompany the game. Nothing terrible or great either. And of course, this is a family-friendly game. On eBay, this game is somewhat hard to come by. Loose copies were going for about $13 to $14, but if you wait, you can find them cheaper. Complete copies were going for $30, and new copies were going for $40 to $65, and as always, those prices include the shipping. So what did I think of F-18 Hornet? Well, at first, I absolutely hated the game. I had a terrible time getting used to the controls. But as I got used to the steep learning curve, I actually found some enjoyment in the game, enough to complete all 4 missions, but not enough to try my luck at getting the ace level. I wish the game was clearer with what obstacles it wants you to clear, and how it calculates the end ranking. Maybe having a scoring indicator during the game would have helped. You also really need the maps from the instruction manual, which thankfully have been scanned over at AtariAge.com to get through these levels. Even then, the graphical limitations still provide a hurdle to overcome when it comes to recognizing objects and landing areas. So in the end, I can only recommend this flight simulator to fans with a lot of patience. So where am I going to rank F-18 Hornet? Well, I did enjoy it more than the slow action of Dark Chambers at 19, but I do like Robotron a little more, even with a single joystick, which is now at number 18, so I'm going to make F-18 Hornet my new number 19 game. F-18 Hornet is recommended for patient flight sim fans only. If you enjoy retro-related videos, would you please click the like and subscribe buttons? You can also check out my podcast, the Atari 7800 Game by Game podcast. This was covered in episode 18 along with Pete Rose Baseball. You can now support the show through Patreon as well, just follow the link below. And be sure to check out many of my other videos covering Atari, Sega, Nintendo, and more. With over 175 now posted, there's something for just about any retro fan. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the next episode of The No Swear Gamer. Take care and hit the skies.